Yes, indeed, that is the channel, and this is South Dakota in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're at 3 Victor Zero Custer State Park Airport, and we have the DC Designs Model 75, also known more commonly as the Stearman. It has a 7-cylinder, 220 horsepower, radial-cooled R670-5 engine in it, and being that it has an open layout, will give us views on views as far as the eye can see. Today's video is going to consist of traveling to 2 awesome national monuments, one being that of Crazy Horses. If you're unaware of who Crazy Horse was, they were a Lakota war leader of the Oglala Band in the 19th century. So they lived between the years of 1840 and 1877, and if you're still unfamiliar with who that is, think the Black Hills War in the Great Plains. Also think Battle of Little Bighorn. So if that doesn't ring a bell, I'll go ahead and throw some information down in the description with links to the information provided if you're interested in learning a little bit more about our national history. And then the second place of interest we're going to fly past, that'd be Mount Rushmore. Of course, it is South Dakota, with 4 stone-face carved figures from 4 of the most important people responsible for helping develop the liberties and the freedoms we enjoy today as people. So that'd be George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. So we'll go ahead and fly past that POI, pay our respects to our national history, and I'll also throw some information about that content as well in the description for links below as well. So, as always, thanks for joining me here on the channel. Let's get this video started. Right, so the first order of business to start the Stearman up. Let's go ahead and just look at the center upper root of our wing there. That plunger there indicates the indicated fuel level in our wing, maximum 46 gallons there. But we've got definitely over 2/3 full, so we're good with gas. Let's go ahead and remove the control locks here. There is no propeller pitch on this aircraft. It is just a fixed pitch propeller, so we'll just worry about our mixture being full rich down here. I'm going to go ahead and turn our battery on and the avionics. We'll go ahead and turn on our nav lights for now, and we'll make sure that there's nobody in the area. Nope, we're clear, so you know the proverbial clear prop. Let's go ahead and turn our fuel supply and make sure it is on. Correct, and let's go ahead and rotate our magnetos to both and get a start on. We'll go ahead and remove the parking brake for a second, and let's go ahead and make sure that our brakes are functioning, and I do believe that they are. So we'll go ahead and turn the parking brake back on. Let's go ahead and rotate this engine for a start. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and just click on the starter, but first let's prime the engine. 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So there you go. You have to hold the starter button down for it to start. I'm going to bring the RPMs up just a little bit here. About 700-800. Get some heat into these cylinders. Get this engine to operating temperature, of course. So I'm going to also look down here at the gauges, make sure everything's okay with the temperature, so on and so forth. I also like how they modeled the bank turn coordinator there, kind of vibrating a little bit back and forth for authentic engine and aircraft vibrations through the airframe there. That's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and look down here to the transponder before I go ahead and forget. And I'm going to rotate this all the way to the right and then back one to make sure that I am on transponder altimeter mode. Of course, we're squawking 1200 Unicom VFR code. I'll throw on the strobes as we speak. I'll let this warm up here, and then I'm going to taxi out to runway 33 here at 3 Victor Zero, and then we're going to take a fairly abrupt left right over this range here, the small little foothills, and we're going to start heading out towards the Crazy Horse Memorial. So with that, I'll supercut to when we're right there, all warmed up, down at 3-3, ready for takeoff. We'll be right back. Alright, and just like that, we're back. I want to do a control check. We've already done our engine run up and called our taxi indication that we were going to be taking off from 3-3. And we've got free, clear, and correct rudder. Let's go ahead and try our ailerons. Full function on that side, of course. And free and correct on that side. Let's go ahead and take a gander to the back and try up elevator. down elevator, and everything is indeed working. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and call out again that we're taking off basically to the north. Let's go ahead and line up on the center. Of course, one last check left, one last check right. No inbound traffic on final. And let's go on and get on out of here. Start heading towards those monuments, shall we? And applying some right rudder as it is a tail dragger. Rear wheels off, airspeed's alive, coming past 70, and we're going to pull back slightly, and we're off. Vertical speed of about approaching 750 feet a minute. Let's go ahead and make that left-hand turn. And you may be asking yourself, why am I flying from the back when it looks like there's actually a pilot or co-pilot position from the front? Well, because you can see just to the upper left of the airspeed indicator there, it says solo from rear seat only, and we are alone today. So that is the justification. And now that we're successfully off here, I'm going to trim the aircraft out, of course, for level hands-off flight, where I'm not constantly adjusting the pitch trim on the ailerons, rudder, and elevator, so that I can enjoy the scenery just as much as you guys out there. And you may notice I didn't mention any call-outs about flap settings because, well, there are none on this aircraft. This aircraft was made from the 1930s through to the 40s, so it is quite an older aircraft, but that's okay. It's exactly the medicine that we need today for being able to look out without any obstructions. Of course, I'm going to pull the power back just a little bit here. Very simple aircraft to operate because we don't have to worry about propeller pitch. It's always nice. Takes a little bit of stress off when we're trying to look out the window and enjoy this VFR weather. So to aid in our flight today, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the VFR map so that we can navigate via our magenta line. You'll be able to see there's 3 Victor 0, and we're not going far. Not going far at all. So, we'll align ourselves with Crazy Horse straight ahead, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to grab some exterior shots so that you can see this PT here, this Stearman rather, in its natural habitat, that being the skies. Let's go ahead and grab them views real quick, huh? Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed those external views of the aircraft and South Dakota alike. You'll notice now at about our 1:32 o'clock position, there's that little outcropping of what looks like red rocks to me. That is our first POI, the Crazy Horse Monument and Memorial. So we're rapidly approaching. As I said, it's not very far in between the airport and these 2 POIs. A lot of scenic history right here, and it's very convenient to be able to travel to such locations fairly quickly as to get you guys the quickest videos so that you don't have to spend too much time here on the channel wasting a day away. But it is a nice day in the sim. This is actually set up for real world weather, although I don't have the real world time on because of course I want the viewability to be as good as it is for making a video. So if you do like what you're seeing and you like the concept of seeing these monuments important to the national history here, go ahead and please throw me a like. Throw me a comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe even subscribe. That would be great. Looking forward to adding smiles to people's days and getting the 50 subs so that we can do this on YouTube live streams, maybe even Twitch. Who knows? Who knows? All in a day's work, I suppose, right? Indeed. So we'll go ahead and verify our location. And indeed, we are at Crazy Horse. It is these mountains here, these rocks, and it is the reason for the open cabin design today for the choice of flight. You can see the face there. We'll go ahead and we'll make a right turn. You can just see it off of the right wingtip there. But so that we can see it a little bit better, like I said, I'll do it clockwise here around this little range. Once we get back into view, I'll go ahead and pan our vision to the right so that you can see better. And basically where we're looking is that outcropping there. Right to the left of that building with the red roof. Just about out of view, but we're going to throw in some right rudder here and swing on around a little bit quicker so that you can see that. And there is the face. Crazy Horse Monument and Memorial. All right. With that, we'll continue our right sweeping turn. And we're going to head on back there towards our northwesterly direction. Intercept the magenta line again with our cheat map, as it were. And we'll head over to Mount Rushmore, which is just over a couple of these hills here, so to speak. Not very far at all. As we say goodbye to the Crazy Horse Memorial. Battle of Little Bighorn. Perfect day to see out the windows, or lack thereof, as it were. Of course, forest on forest on forest out here in South Dakota. This would be a very difficult spot to lose an engine, especially from this altitude. So, we're going to pray for that not happening. And, as you can see, custom waypoint, also known as Mount Rushmore. Straight ahead, not far. And I'll go ahead and turn a little left here, that way we get a better view of Mount Rushmore. And I'm just toning down a little bit with the vocals, that way you can enjoy the scenery, and of course the Steerman here by DC Designs. A little bit louder of an experience due to the nature of, you know, the wind and the radial engine. But if you're having any difficulties hearing me, that would be intentional because, you know, this is an open cabin experience, so I kind of just want to experience that as an open cabin. So we'll check on the other side of this range to our 3 p.m. position here, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And if you hear that creaking, that's just me adjusting the trim here. Every once in a while, readjusting for speed. We'll check our map again just to get there. Straight ahead. And I suppose I stand corrected. That indeed is not Mount Rushmore, but we are obviously using the cheat sheet to get there. All these rocks on these ranges have that distinct slate color tone to them, so they look very familiar in terms of identifiability, very similar. It just gives us more time to enjoy these views and listen to this 7-cylinder radio. Alright, so there we go with our 12 o'clock position just off of our cowl there. You can see we're going to be coming in from the left-hand side of the monument, so that'll be the left to right call out. I'll go ahead and shout out those names, some of our more important, influential, historic people, very important to the development of our country, and like I said, our liberties and freedoms that we enjoy today. Here is Mount Rushmore, just in between our wings. So, we'll get a little closer here. And left to right, we're looking at George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Wonderful sight to see in the sim. Very high resolution, very high detail. Cool place, cool scenery. Excellent. So we'll go ahead and we'll slide a clockwise turn in here, and then I'll come around from the opposite direction, right to left. And then after we make this second pass here, we'll go ahead and head back to 3 Victor 0 and conclude the video. We'll try to get just a tad closer. And there we go, right to left. This time Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington. Very good. Peace, love, and respect. Alright, we're going to put the throttle to the firewall, gain some altitude, and start heading back to 3 Victor 0 in our fantastic Stearman. Plenty of fuel left to get us home. Plenty of power out here in these foothills as we say goodbye to two very important memorialized national monuments. And with that, once we're on final approach, I'll go ahead and supercut to the landing here with our Stearman, and I'll see you in just a second. Alright, welcome back. Here we are right out the front window, 3 Victor 0 on final approach. I've already announced our arrival and our intentions to land full stop, and that we are on final. There are no flaps to worry about in this aircraft, so all we have to do is make a decent landing and we'll be good for the day. So I'm approaching here at just under 90 knots indicated on the airspeed indicator, coming down at about 500 feet a minute. And we're just keeping this aircraft under control because this does not, obviously being built in the 30s and 40s, have any speed brakes or flaps or mechanisms to slow down. So what you see and feel is what you get. That way we're not going to go too far over the limit or too under the limit in terms of our speed control. It is a tail dragger, which makes it just a little bit more challenging and exciting to land, and This Custer State Park here, the airport, is not that wide of a runway, at least as it's interpreted with my flying today. This is a standard airport in the game, no DLC involved today with any of this content, so just something to keep in mind. This is achievable for no money in terms of add-ons or anything like that. Well, that's not totally true, is it? Because the DC Designs is a DLC aircraft, but one that's well worth the view out the window for, that's for sure. In my most humble opinion, of course. You know, we're a little right, so let's go ahead and correct for that. Coming in a little bit fast, but always, as I say in my videos, I'd rather have more altitude and speed and energy than not enough and coming in short. So we're dealing with that while I'm also trying to trim the aircraft out for as easy an approach as possible while backing off the airspeed. And we touched down. And thankfully that was pretty smooth and not too bouncy. We're going to go ahead and modulate our differential left and right braking here on our wheels so as to not go careening off the side of the runway. And then I'm just going to hold back on the elevator a little bit. Sight unseen for you guys, of course, but I am indeed pulling back on the flight yoke. That way we have a little bit of positive downforce on the back of the tail there, with the prop wash going over the propeller and the control surfaces for the elevator. Makes sure that we have just a little bit more stability so that we don't nose over when I tap the brakes. Just something to keep in mind on tail dragger aircraft, of course. Our taxiway is coming rapidly up on the left here. So we're slow enough now that I'm going to go ahead and release that positive elevator pitch control there. Now I'm just working, of course, with the differential braking and throttle plus rudder. So we'll go ahead. There are ground crew there working in front of us. I guess they expect us to come in there, but that individual to our immediate right does not seem to be too cared about aircraft moving around on the tarmac here, so we're going to steer clear of those wild people. I'll just grab a whole bunch of right brake, apply some throttle, and hopefully turn us to the right here, and then we'll shut her on down. Alright, bringing it back to flight idle. I'll take this opportunity to remove the avionics, the strobes, and the nav lights. Let's go ahead and pull our mixture back to cutoff. That means we can remove the magnetos, turn them off, turn the battery off, we'll turn the fuel off, we'll also rotate our transponder to off, and we'll put the control locks on as well. So let's hop on outside for a review and then conclude the video. And just like that, we're wrapping up the Stearman in South Dakota. We've completely closed out the aircraft. I'd also hope to say that you enjoyed the sights and heard the sounds and enjoyed those as well from the Stearman with this awesome South Dakota backdrop. And I hope you like the monuments that we visited today. The POIs are excellent locations to see in-game. And I'll go ahead, as always, and throw some more links in the description about the actual places and the people themselves, so feel free to check that out. Also, feel free to subscribe if you would. I'm looking forward to those 50 subs so that we can start doing this on live YouTube videos. As always, thank you for joining the channel today. And until the next time, bye-bye.